Hi guys, thank you so much for watching The Royal We. My name is Kevin, and not long ago I made a video right from this spot talking about what triggers narcissistic rage. And in that video, I discussed things like your beauty and your talents and your gifts and your joy and your happiness and all that stuff that we find out actually triggers narcissistic rage. Well, in this video, I want to follow that one up. I want to take it a step further with you, and I want to talk about why these things trigger narcissistic rage. Can we do that? All right, don't go anywhere. We got a lot to talk about right here on The Royal We. First of all, I do have a course available. You can check out the course by clicking the link in the description box. Just drop the description box open and you'll see the course link right there. You can check that out. You can get involved in the course at any time. Second, guys, I do have Instagram available now, and the Instagram is growing. I also include the Instagram link in the description box, so you can find both of those things there, guys. All right, now let's get into this video content because we have a lot of stuff to cover. The question is, why do you trigger narcissistic rage? In the last video, I talked about what triggers narcissistic rage, and it's things like your joy, your peace, your happiness, your love, your independence as an individual. These things cause narcissistic rage, as you and I have experienced in our lives. But the question is why? Why do these things trigger narcissistic rage? Well, in order to understand why, I thought it would be best to help you understand what narcissistic abuse actually is. If you can understand the terminology of narcissistic abuse, understand what it means, what the word is actually saying, you will have a better understanding as to why the things that you do, the attributes that you have, the beautiful person that you are, why all these things trigger narcissistic rage. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do with you guys is define narcissistic abuse. So let's break it up into two separate words, two separate things here. We have narcissism, and then we have abuse. Let's first take a look at narcissism. Narcissism, guys, we have from a Greek mythological story. The story is of this Greek mythological character, Narcissus. Narcissus happened to come across his reflection in a pool of water. And according to the mythological story, Narcissus falls in love with himself in the pool of water. He falls in love with his attributes, with everything that's reflected back at him. And he falls in love to the point where he shuts the entire world out. And what he does is ultimately stays there and he dies in the spot near the pool, near his reflection, and where he dies, a flower grows, and they call it the Narcissus flower. It's also called a daffodil. Just thought I'd throw that out there, all right? So, what do we get from this story, this Greek mythological story? Well, we get an understanding of this certain type of lifestyle, this certain imagery of this character, Narcissus. And what best describes this character is this: somebody who has pursued gratification from admiration of his own attributes. That's what Narcissus did. And so that's what we define narcissism as. It's the pursuit of gratification from the admiration of one's own attributes. Okay? And now, guys, this represents, by the way, narcissist represents extreme narcissism. True extreme narcissism, guys, you and I would never be involved with, because they would have no need to be involved with anybody, right? As the mythological story goes, he shut the entire world out. He didn't need anybody. That's true extreme narcissism. They wouldn't even pay attention to you. They would be so wrapped up in themselves. Do these people exist in reality? I'm sure they do, right? Probably all over the place, right? That's not what you and I deal with. You and I deal with a sub-version of narcissism. We deal with covert and overt narcissism, which is a little bit different. These types of narcissism or narcissists do require other people, and we're going to talk more about this a little bit later in the video, okay? But hold that aside. Now that you understand what narcissism is, at least true narcissism, based on the mythological story of Narcissus, okay? Now let's talk about abuse. What is abuse? Well, abuse is best defined, and I'm talking about all abuse, guys, bullying and all kinds of horrible stuff. The horrible abusers of the world they can best be described and defined as this: those who need to settle an imbalance of power and control. Now, it's important to understand that the imbalance of power and control exists within themselves. It has nothing to do with their true interactions with people, right? This is why abusers abuse innocent people. This is why it's the nice guys that get bullied. This is why it's innocent people who do nothing that get bullied and pushed around. It's because that exists within themselves. The need to settle the imbalance of power and control is something they wrestle with. They don't feel like they have any power and control in their life. And so standing next to a person who is happier than them is a threat, and they need to settle that imbalance, right? This explains why abusive people go after innocent people. It's something that they deal with. It's something they experience on a regular basis. Sad, I know. So now we have abuse, right? Defined as the need to settle an imbalance of power and control. We also have narcissism. Now let's bring the two together. We get narcissistic abuse. So how would we define that? Well, you've got the pursuit of gratification from the admiration of one's own attributes, and then you also have the need to settle an imbalance of power and control. So you have narcissism, this idea of they want to be in love with themselves. They want admiration. They want gratification from the admiration of their own attributes, right? And if they don't get it, they consider it an imbalance of power and control, and so they need to settle it. They need to resolve it. Now we're getting into the abusive part, okay? So that's how we bring the two together. And I know it's amazing. No, the word narcissistic abuse is not just a cool slogan to use. It actually makes sense, and it actually is something that you and I experience when we deal with these sub-level narcissistic abusive individuals. Now, we call them sub-level because, like I said, they're not 100% extreme narcissism. They do not represent narcissists who shut the entire world out, didn't care, didn't talk to anybody, right? These narcissists are a little bit different. The main difference is that they want to they're in pursuit of gratification from the admiration of their attributes. They want to admire their attributes, but on their own, they can't. They don't look in the mirror and fall in love. Abusive narcissists do not look at themselves and fall in love. They're not able to because they don't love themselves at all, but they want to. They have a need and a desire. They thirst to feel important. They thirst to feel like they're the best. But what they require is other people in their life. They require others to do it for them. They require other people to admire them so they can feel that. This is why they surround themselves with people who admire them, the flying monkeys, this and that. And this is why they become abusive to those who don't admire them, because there's an imbalance of power and control, because they so badly want that admiration. So if I can make an image of this, let's say, for example, you have the story of Narcissus, but we're going to change the story a little bit, okay? Narcissus is at this pool. He sees his reflection, and he starts to try to admire his attributes. But he just can't quite make it on his own. He doesn't admire much about himself on his own. Now, let's say he has some friends or some people coming along, and so Narcissus brings them over and says, hey, let's look at the reflection. Hey, you're a cool person. Let's look at the reflections. Well, what happens is after a while, Narcissus is getting frustrated because all the other reflections are there, and he can't focus on his own. He wants everybody there just to look at his reflection. He wants everybody there to admire his attributes, not their own. And what's happening is other people are also looking at their own attributes. And this is making Narcissus very mad. And so he becomes abusive. He starts to want to settle that imbalance of power and control because everybody there is supposed to be looking at his attributes only, his or her attributes, right? There's a Bible verse, actually, guys, that supports this. And I believe it's in Galatians. I believe it's Galatians 16 or 17. And the scripture says this. It says, those people, they are zealous for you, but not for a good reason. They want to isolate you so that you will become zealous for them. I'm paraphrasing there, but basically what it's saying is those people will become fanatical about you. This is the love bombing. They'll become fanatical about you, but not for a good reason. They want to isolate you. They want to bring you closer to them and isolate you from everybody else so that you will become fanatical about them. That's the goal. So that's the story of covert and overt narcissists. That's what they try to do. They want to bring you in, they love bomb you, but their purpose is to get you to a place where you can look at their reflection and do nothing but be in admiration of their reflection of who they think they are, the reflection they want to see, their attributes. That's the only reason they bring you into their life. That's the only reason they bring you around their pool, so that you can look into the pool and hopefully see their attributes in the water. That's what they want. And if you don't see it, then they get very upset. This is why they go into a rage. And if your reflection looks better than theirs, if you are a more beautiful person, or if you are a harder worker, or if you are funnier, or if you have more friends, this is what they get upset with. This is why they go into a rage. They rage because they're not feeling admired. They rage because you're not admiring their attributes, which is what they require because of their level of narcissism. They require others to admire them, right? I hope this makes sense, guys, and I hope this makes sense as to why you experienced the rages that you experienced. And if you have any questions, guys, you're welcome to contact me. My telephone number is at the end of this video. I look forward to your phone calls. Also, once again, guys, be sure to check out the course and follow me on Instagram. Bye. All right, guys, I hope you liked this video, and I want to thank you once again for joining me here on The Royal We. Now, I want to encourage you guys, if you want to jumpstart your recovery process and really take it to another level, I encourage you to check the link below for the Royal We course. The link is in the description box. Check that out. I know it's going to be a good thing for you. Also, guys, Instagram is available, so click the link in the description box for Instagram and join me there as well. Now, guys, I want to draw your attention to the sides of the screen right over here. You're going to have a video right there that's going to be my last upload prior to this one. So if you missed my last upload, you can catch it right there. Now, right below that video right there is going to be a special recommended video just for you. Either way, you can't go wrong. Thank you once again. I'll see you next time.